So I'm going to read an essay that I wrote in November for an anthology that's coming out this fall called Desire, Women Write About Wanting. It's edited by Lisa Solad, and it's coming out from Seal Press. And it's true. Okay, I'm gonna read part of it, and I'll just skip around to the good parts. On my 31st birthday, that was last November, I gave my boyfriend 2 blowjobs. It was an unexpectedly sunny Friday morning, and I had woken up bright and early, ready for a brisk hour-long stroll to work, where, for once, I might even be on time. But I paused when I saw him naked, fresh from the shower. I had gotten up before him and was dressed in a new low-cut lilac top, flowing blue silk skirt, and fishnets. I should have been out the door already if I wanted to walk versus cramming onto the subway, but I just couldn't resist the temptation of his body splayed out before me. I pressed him back against his bed. He hoisted himself up and lay down while I leaned over and took his soft cock into my mouth, sucking lightly until he became hard. It felt like its own form of lovemaking, and gave me perhaps an inordinate sense of pride that I could turn him from flaccid to fuckable in mere moments. There's a different energy to swallowing a soft penis. It's a kinder, gentler form of cocksucking, if you will. The truth is, probably anyone's mouth would have had the same effect, but mine was the one doing it. We didn't have time for prolonged teasing, but I made sure to do more than simply a perfunctory job. I knew that he wasn't expecting it, and if he had been, I'd have been much less inclined to do it. I think blowjobs should be voluntary offerings, not strident demands. I found myself getting aroused as I took him down my throat, enjoying the sounds he made and the sensory overload of the situation, not to mention the fact that I was fully dressed and therefore even more in control of the situation. When he came in my mouth, I swallowed, then rinsed off in the bathroom, but couldn't wipe the smile off my face. It was only much later that night, when the official hour meant we'd left my birthday in the past, that I started to have my doubts about whether giving a blowjob, never mind a second one, had been such a wise move. The nighttime blowjob was different, less a perky wake-up call than a post-fucking please come message. He gave me instructions, which I dutifully followed, but the longer it took, the more I doubted my ability, gauging only from his grunts and groans whether I was on the right track. Afterward, I nestled in his arms and he said, "You're a really great blowjob giver." I smiled, but then I squirmed. Don't get me wrong, I've heard it before. Not to brag, but I do pride myself on my ability in the deep throating department. Yet his words gave me pause and made me pull slightly back, moving my lips from the crook of his neck to his more distant shoulder, my eyes averted from his gorgeous face to somewhere slightly farther away. Was he wondering how I got to be that good at cocksucking? Did the ghosts of blowjobs past haunt him and taint his feelings for me? His statement lingered in the room. I couldn't think of a suitable response, so I resorted to nonverbal contact, nuzzling against him. In his statement, it became clear to me that we both knew I'd had plenty of practice, and for one of the first times in my life, I started to question the sexual MO I'd employed for most of my 20s and into my 30s. I didn't feel guilty per se, just unsettled. Should I be that experienced? Does that make me a worse girlfriend? Does it mean I'm not marriage material if I've not only given many blowjobs, but enjoyed most of them as well? I wondered whether this were truly a compliment, but I simply couldn't bring myself to ask. I realized that even though I may think I'm as sexually liberated as a girl can get, I did, after all, write a Village Voice column called Long Live Blowjob Nation, defending the beleaguered BJ from the likes of Caitlin Flanagan's disparagement. There are slutty demons that lurk in the far reaches of my mind, waiting to capture me in their clutches. Sluttiness isn't so much about a given set of actions as a state of mind, and that goes for the reclamation of the word as well. Think riot girl and alt porn, as well as the 4-letter word's more traditional epithet overtones. There's a reason my blog, Lusty Lady, comes up second in a Google search for blowjobs. I write about them when they're in the news. Sadly, I was not yet a blogger during the Lewinsky scandal, and also because I simply find the word and the act incredibly arousing. And by that, I don't mean porn shots of girls choking on cocks that seem disproportionately large, or guys who think that simply because they possess dicks, they deserve to get them sucked anytime, anywhere. I don't mean that I've enjoyed every blowjob I've ever given, or that I'm always in the mood to contemplate them, let alone give them. I don't mean that anytime I meet a guy, I'm imagining what his cock would feel like rammed down my throat, or that I even think about blowjobs on a daily or weekly basis. Okay, probably a weekly basis. But I do mean that when I'm in bed with a guy I'm hot for, having my mouth anywhere near his lower half makes me unbearably horny. To me, it's an all-in-one sex act, giving him immense pleasure, turning me on, and letting me take control of something I'm both good at and enjoy doing. If either one of those last factors weren't in place, a blowjob could very well feel like a chore. Yet for all the truth to the above statements, and my wholehearted belief that more women and men like to suck cock than we give them credit for, something about my guy's sentence, perhaps because it was said after the fact rather than in the heat of the moment, or due to his word choice, made me feel iffy, if not icky. I couldn't enjoy it as a simple compliment because it seemed to have a silent follow-up. The next logical thought being that if I'd done it with him, I'd certainly have done it with other guys. Putting it down so bluntly makes me feel like a hypocrite. How can I advocate for sexual freedom for everyone in my writing when I can't even own my own lusty desires? The problem is that I do still care about what my lovers think of me, and I want them to see me as a whole person, one who just happens to like sucking cock when she's turned on. I have good reason to be concerned. In Sherry Argov's Why Men Marry Bitches, the follow-up to her ultra-successful Why Men Love Bitches, one of the male tidbits of wisdom she quotes is, if a woman gives a fantastic blowjob the first time you are together, and she does it without hardly batting an eyelash, he'll be thinking, where the hell did she learn how to do this? If you seem like a pro, you might be a hoe. But a woman's penchant for lip service is just one of the ways it seems like we're tested in the modern bedroom. With some guys, it's 3 strikes and you're out if you don't put out, while for others, first date sex is the ultimate taboo. It gets confusing, and no matter how much we might advocate or believe in sexual equality in principle, it's next to impossible to blithely date and sleep with men or women and remain unaffected by these concerns. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. The same fear provoked by the blowjob compliment cropped up one day with the same boyfriend when he was squeezing my nipples. Whereas before he'd given them gentle twists and tugs, this time we'd collapsed onto his bedroom floor, too impatient to actually make it to the bed. He pressed my nubs is a word we use at my job and pronounce variations all the time, between his thumbs and forefingers, almost flattening them, and I gasped. Is that too much? No, keep going. I want it to hurt. I like it when it's almost too much. I don't know if I'd ever articulated it as such, but it was true. My nipples have always been extremely sensitive, and if someone's going to just gently lick them, they may as well not even bother. I want to feel that special soreness the next day, when putting on my bra can become an erotic act, just by having my still tender nipples rub against the undergarment's fabric. But by telling him how much I can take, I was also clearly saying that I'd been there, done that before, enough times to know just how far my body can be pushed, how much pressure my nipples can stand. And it's true. Other people have tweaked, stroked, pulled, pushed, nipped, bitten, and clamped my nipples. Sorry. Some of that happened like last week in this bar. They've been pinched and flattened and sucked on by many lovers. But telling him that small but potent fact, though, I allowed him to treat my nipples more roughly than he'd have felt comfortable doing otherwise, benefiting both of us. I promptly forgot about my fear as I succumbed to his touch, and apparently he did too, if he had ever had any of my same concerns about my experience level. Wait, I'm gonna end there. There's more to that essay, but I will also say there's a little postscript to that essay, which is that I found out that boyfriend was hiring hookers the whole time we were dating, and so I think my concerns about whether I was too slutty for him are a little unfounded. But I will say that he introduced me to two of tonight's readers, so who are my really good friends. So he was good for something.